Okay. Good afternoon and good morning in the other parts of the countries. Welcome to Research Circle. Today's free webinar topic is financial literacy in 21st century. And our today's expert speaker is uh, Odinayo Margaret Olareju. She's a PhD, AAT, NIG, CA, NIG, BPA, SA, ACMA, and CGMA. Currently lived in South Africa, and she has completed her masters and PhD as well, and she has around 14 plus years of experience as a professional in finance in the, various finance institutions. And so, without wasting much time, I would like to invite our today's speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me in Research Circle. As you've introduced me, I'm Dr. Margaret Olarewaju. I'm from South Africa, and I don't think I need to go back to talk about myself, but I just want to appreciate this opportunity to come and talk on what we all need, because we all deal with finances. So I'm trying to share my screen. Please let me know if
Yes,
you
it's
can see.
visible.
Okay. So the topic of my webinar this afternoon is financial literacy in the 21st century. So my details are on this screen, and in case you wish to contact me, if maybe. So why do we really need this topic? Why do we need to know about financial literacy in this kind of age, in this 21st century? Is because wealth travels in the direction of wisdom. So wealth that we gather, it travels in the direction of wisdom, and being orderly financially leads to seeing wonders in your finances. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to see wonders in your finances, then maintain order in your finances. So the outline of my presentation, the outline of my presentation, we go as follows. So I'll talk about the dimension of the presentation, the meaning of financial literacy, how financial literacy affects life, what is financial literacy, why is financial literacy important, facts about financial literacy, 21st century skills on financial literacy, towards building financial literacy, understanding credit, an important aspect of financial literacy. Then, in summary, what does it mean to be financially literate? Then how to assess your financial literacy and how to improve your financial literacy. So I want to start by saying financial literacy is not something you will magically know. So it's not what you will just know without being intentional that you want to know it. So the dimension of my presentation I'll be discussing about the content, the processes, and the context of financial literacy. So when I mean the content, I'll be talking about the areas of knowledge, understanding that are essential for financial literacy. So I will be talking about these four contents: money and transaction. I'll be talking about planning and managing finances. We'll be talking about risk and reward, and we'll be talking about financial landscape. So if I'll talk about processes, I will be talking about um, approaches and mental strategies that are called upon to negotiate the material. So, which are as follows. I'll talk about the identifying financial information, analyzing information in a financial context, evaluating financial issues, and applying financial knowledge and understanding. So now, if I'm talking about the context, I will be talking about situation in which financial knowledge, skills, and understanding are applied, which is ranging from personal to the global. So as an institution, we need to know about finances. As an individual also, we also need to know about finances. Don't forget, I started by saying wealth travels in the direction of wisdom. So these are divided into 4 groups to talk about education and work. This will affect home and family, it will affect individual, and it can also affect society. So if I move to the next aspect of my presentation, which is meaning of financial literacy. Meaning of financial literacy. So what do we mean if we talk about financial literacy? I know we've heard it before. This is not just the first time of hearing about financial literacy. So financial literacy means sharing of knowledge, skill set, wisdom, experience that people need to make informed, reasoned, and responsible financial decisions. And that is why we are here for this webinar. It's because we want to know more about financial decisions. We want to be well informed and take more responsibility for financial decisions. So being financially literate helps an individual know when he or she is spending money responsibly or not. So if you're financially literate, you will be able to know if you are spending your money responsibly or not. So it also gives customer the capacity to discern where between financial products that may facilitate their short and long-term investment. So as an individual, it helps us to know when we are spending money responsibly or not. As consumers, it gives the capacity to discern financial products that may facilitate short and long-term investment goals. And it also gives them the knowledge and foresight to effectively weigh the legitimacy of the financial advice they will receive throughout their lives. So knowing much about financial literacy, it makes you an authority over your finances. It gives you a control, an undoubted control over your finances. So financial literacy can also mean the ability to understand how money works, how someone makes money, how you can manage it and invest it, and also expend it. So to help others, if you're financially literate, you'll be able to know what you can do with money. You know that the money in your hand is a seed. You know that the money you have is just a seed to be able to bring more money. So in-depth knowledge of financial literacy is required to understand how money works and how it can work for you. Knowing how money works alone will not help, but your ability to know how money works for you. So even when you are sleeping, by investing in profitable areas like stock and money market, real estate and others, will help you to know how money can work for you. So I think the major mistake most people make is that they know how money works, but they don't know how money works for them. So having this kind of webinar is to be able to personalize it. What do I have? How can this work for me and be multiplied? So to understand how money works for you, it is important to understand common financial literacy principles such as financial goals, budgeting, investment, superannuation contracts, and employment models. So I will just talk about these financial goals, budgeting, and investment. I think that's what an individual majorly needs to know if you really want to be financially literate. If there's no goal, It's just a life without a vision and mission is a life that wanders away. So in terms of your finances, if you don't have a goal, you are going nowhere. That's the meaning. It means your money is not, there's no intention of what you want to use this money for. So the first thing to do as someone who wants to be financially literate in this century is to have a goal. What do I want to achieve? And I want us to know that money drives many things. There are so many ideas. If there's no money, you might not be able to achieve those ideas. And that is the truth. The second thing here is budgeting. If you record, recording establishes accountability. Your ability to record the inflow and outflow of money makes you more accountable, and it imposes discipline on you. So it makes you more accountable and it imposes discipline on you. So that means if you don't have a budget for yourself, for your family, for your business, it means you are not accountable for how the money will go. Don't forget, I will always go back to that sentence, that wealth travels in the direction of wisdom. So if you are not wise with wealth, you won't be able to build wealth. If you move closely to the wealthy people, if you study them, you know that they are not foolish people. They are wise. That is just the truth. So then investment, you should know what kind of investment you can do. And before you can do this, you need to know your environment. The investment that will work for me in South Africa might not work in India. It might not work in the US. So there must be economic survey. You must survey your surroundings to know what is thriving and what will really give you return on investment. So these three is very key. Then superannuation contracts for businesses and employment models. So, but those three aspects for an individual who wants to make changes in their finances, we definitely do that. So how financial literacy affect lives? So I think a webinar like this, I know majority registered on YouTube and all that, is a webinar for all, especially those that you know that there is a future, there is something big, and you want to manage it very well. That is coming your way. So how financial literacy affect lives? It affects lives because you will be able to understand how to budget. So you know how to budget if you are able, if you are financially literate. So you know how to pay for expenses, you know how to save and get rid of debt, you know how much money you are taking in, you will know how to distribute it effectively. And you can know that these things that I mentioned is what happens to us individually. It's only the dead that is not going through this, because you consume. Even if you are not consuming anything, you consume the toothpaste you use to brush your teeth, to be tidy. Those are consumption. That means this thing is affecting every life. So to pay for expenses, you save and get rid of debt, understand how much income you are taking in and distribute it effectively, we always help you. And that is why you need to be financially literate, because it affects our lives. So making a budget is your first steps. Is your first step towards a true understanding of money management. So that is where it comes from. That is where it comes from. Then understanding and manage, you'll be able to understand and manage debt. So if you can understand and manage debt, it affects your life. We are not saying credit is not good, but your ability to manage credit will take you far. You know, majority of these rich people, they are also people that takes credit to work more, to produce and to multiply their wealth. But it's because they are wise and they are well trained in terms of financial literacy. So when you are financially literate, you will recognize the importance of seeking out the low interest rate when comparing loan terms. You also know that paying off credit balances each month is your best bet for preventing interest charge and high credit utilization. which affects your credit scores. So if you are someone who is financially literate, you can't take debt because maybe you are a citizen or something, you just take debt and you are not servicing it. You are just spoiling your credit scores, and it can affect you in the future. You never know. Opportunity meets with preparation. So ability to prepare, ability to set yourself ready, to make yourself ready for the future. Building credit score also matters. You know, there are some people you can't just lend them money and you'll be expecting it the same day they promise. Those are integrity slap, and it should not be for anybody who is financially literate. So the third point is that you'll be able to understand how an emergency fund works. You know, there is no life that cannot face emergency. And as an adult, as someone who is, let me say, an adult, let me just put it like that, you can expect emergency. Emergency can be positive, it can be negative, although nobody is praying for a negative occurrences. But a crucial way to prevent debt from building is to create an emergency fund, a savings account that you can draw from when unexpected expenses arise. So a financially literate saver knows how much to set aside, ideally 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, and replenish it when necessary. You know, I was listening to one rich fellow recently this week, and he said, your true worth after you lose is known after you are no longer working. At least after you are no longer getting income. Your true worth stays in that. So if you want to really know what your true worth is, then let's see when inflow is not coming. Then the question is, what have you been doing with the inflows that are coming? I'm not talking about being rich. You know, personally, I just made up my mind sometimes last year that I will now be saving more. And before the end of the year, I discovered that what I was able to save, if not for that decision, I don't think I would have been able to save that. And now I was now sharing it with people that we just need to make up our mind. No matter how little our income is, there must be something we set aside for emergency situations. So you will know how emergency fund works. At least after this webinar, you should be able to know. So then the plan for retirement, you start planning for retirement as soon as you are employed. So don't wait till you grow old, because one day you have to retire. So that's just the fact. So far you are working for someone. Even if you are into business, don't forget one day you grow old and you need to drop the business. It now depends on who is managing the business for you. So while developing an emergency savings account, savings for retirement should be concurrent long-term goals. When you've become financially literate, you can calculate how much more to save and which type of account will help you to get there. You know, I got into discussion with someone recently that so many people will have been rich or richer than what they are now, that their status, if they know much about financial literacy. Because someone shared some things with us that she has to travel and relocate, and he has a car, and the person parked the car for over 3 years. You know, the question I will ask myself is, when I know I'm relocating from that country to another, why do I need to park a car? You know that parking a car is depreciating. Now the person is in need of another car because it's going back and all. I said, since you know you are living for such a long time, why don't you sell this car and invest the money? Then when you are going back, use it. Now the car that you left on, just parked it for years, is depreciating, is no longer working. But before the car can work, now you must have spent an amount that can even buy a car. Is that reasonable enough? So many people will have been better. They will have been living much more better than what they are experiencing if they take their time to be financially literate. So why is, we're just talking about financial literacy? I think that's what everybody is talking about now. And we know that this is what we need. So the question I will ask is, why is financial literacy important? Why is it important? So the first answer I have is, if people truly understand the way that financial system works at an early age, or even at later on in life, if they've made poor decisions but learn how to go back and fix them and start planning for the future, they can then encompass that and take the step to make a better life for themselves. Well, you might have made some mistakes before. You might, it's true, but you know that the most important thing is for you not to die as a failure. So that means you can make corrections at any time. But if you're opportune to know how to deal with your finances at an early stage, that will have been better, and it will give you a better future. So finances inherently, whether or not it's incredibly short term in just buying lunch for that day or long-term saving for investment, it helps you to accomplish whatever your goals are. I started by saying, do you have a goal? Do you have a goal in the next 10 years? How much do you think you can worth? If your answer is no, then that means you are not ready to be wealthy. That means you are not ready to multiply your wealth. In the next 5 years, what do you think? You must think about something. You must hope for something. You must set a goal. You must set financial goal. It's not only career goal. It's not only life goal. Okay, in the future, I want to be this. But God has given us wisdom to be able to think, okay, in the next 5 years, what will I be able to achieve? Then setting that goals give you the ability to work towards achieving and taming all your activities to the achievement of that goal. And the other thing I want us to know is that when we talk about financial literacy, we are not talking about not living life and enjoying it. You can still be financially literate and enjoy your life and wear the best of clothes and look good, and your money is still speaking for you. So there are things you need to know, and these things we talk about gives room for good life. So when we talk about financial literacy, we are not talking about you going to be stingy. We are just saying the money you have, use it wisely. That's just what we're saying. So finances inherently, whether or not you buy it helps you whatever your goals are. So now, to continue, why is financial literacy important? Financial literacy is important because it allows an individual to understand and maximize whatever level of income they have. No matter the level of income you have, you should multiply and ensure that you are better, that tomorrow is better than today. That's just what we preach. And it helps people to transform their lives. That's why we do it. And that's why it is important. So financial literacy is important because understanding your finances seeps into every areas of your life. I've said it when I started. If you are someone who cannot manage finances very well, it affects all other aspects of your life. It affects the entire aspect of your life, because I said it, I've once said it this day, that from the toothpaste you use, from the body cream, the soap you use to bath is a product of your management of finances. So, and I've seen some people that they are really living on a bankrupt level. There's nothing they can do that is not borrowing upon borrowing. It's a sign of mismanagement. That's just the truth. Either we believe or not, but that's the sign, because so far you have income that comes to you, you should be able to manage it. That is what we teach, and that is why the wisdom is there for us. That's why we have the brain to be able to picture a better future for ourselves. So if you bury your head in the sand and don't understand what's happening in the financial world, you don't ask the right question, you don't attend where you can learn more about this thing that affects all other aspects of our lives, then you can be at severe disadvantage to attain financial success. And if you are not financially successful, then which other area? Because you need finances to buttress other areas so that you can be successful. So please, this webinar is just to enlighten us all over the world that we need to take responsibility to be able to plan our finances. So facts about financial literacy. Financial education can benefit consumers on all ages and income levels. So it's not, you can train your child to be financially literate. That's the fact. A child, you start from any age. It's not age bias, it's not gender bias. Everybody needs this thing. So from young adults just beginning their working lives, it can provide basic tools for budgeting, savings, so that expenses and debts can be kept controlled. You should let your children or kids know, the younger ages, the younger generation, let them know that they must be contented with what they have, so that when they are earning, they will be able to know how to keep expenses lower than their income. It starts from their lifestyle when they are still young. So financial education can help families acquire the discipline to save their own home and for their children education. I remember when I newly got a job in this country where I live in, and I wanted to buy a house, and people were just discouraging me. It's too early. Why don't you wait? I was just laughing, because for me personally, I could calculate the pros and cons of getting my own house than paying rent. So paying my bond and paying rent of the same amount. So I think one is better. And if you are not committed, if you have not committed your finances, you will likely be wasting these finances. If you have not, it's as if then, oh, how will I survive paying these bills and all that? But if you're into it, you will just discover that you check your expenses and you will still be able to pay the bills. And if you have not taken that decision, you will still be spending that money, and the money will not be enough. I don't know if I have witnesses listening to me all around the world. So either you do it or not, you still be spending that money. Then if you do it, you just discover that you are coping naturally. You are just coping. So just let us have a goal. So irrespective of what anybody is saying, have a goal and pursue your goal. I'm talking about financial goal now. And so financial education helps families to acquire your own home and all that. So it can help older workers ensure that they have enough savings for retirement. Especially, you need to understand the characteristics of your country. It's very, there are some economies that are underdeveloped. There are some that are developed, and there are some that are developing economies. The underdeveloped or the developing economies, that some of them do not cater really for the old age and the retired people. Then that informs you to please prepare for the future. It informs you that you should plan yourself for the future. So the most important thing, there's no excuse for failure, and your failure is not as a result of other people's activities, as a result of your own activities. My failure is as a result of my own activity. So I am what I am because of God and because of the decision I've taken. So we shouldn't take blame and shift to anybody, but understand this economy by preparing for your future, by planning for your future. So financial literacy also helps in that regard. So financial education can help in low-income people to make the most of what they are able to save, and help them avoid the high cost charge for financial transaction. To make it practical, I would like to say that financial literacy will really help you if you know that you are a low-income earner. You have little resources and you want to make the most out of it. That means you need to have goals and ensure that no matter how little you earn, cut your coat according to what you can achieve. Don't copy people, live your personal life, but ensure that no matter how little it is, you save from it. Even if it will cost you to be staying in a room, if that is what your income can take, it's better, because you can't be earning and you spending everything. It's a danger signal. That's just the truth. It's a danger signal. It's not a good signal at all. So your level of financial literacy affects your quality of life. That's true. You could see some people now at their retirement, even when the children are out of their home and the family, they are living well. It's because they've planned their lives. So if you want, your quality of life depends on how literate you are in terms of finances. That's just the truth. You just see some people that are not really rich, but they are living quality life without stress. It's because they are the little they have, they are managing it very well, and they are using it. And some rich people will not even be able to achieve what those kind of people are achieving. So wisdom stays where there is wisdom. Wealth stays where there is wisdom. I started by saying that. So the wisdom we have and how we use this wisdom determine and dictate how wealth will be retained. So financial literacy enables people to understand what is needed to achieve a lifestyle that is financially balanced, sustainable, ethical, and responsible. So, I said it, I said, being financially literate does not mean you are now stingy, you are not helping people, you are not responsible to other things, or you are in the home, you are not providing for the kid. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that you'll be able to achieve a good lifestyle that is financially balanced. So we should get that fact right. And also know that financial literacy is critical for navigating financial decision. Financial literacy is critical for navigating financial decision and lives. It is a critical survivor skill. So people's lives can be monumentally improved if they are financially literate and if they use that knowledge. That's why I'm saying that some people that we think they are not that rich are achieving things that the rich people struggle to achieve. The difference is financial literacy. So financial literacy is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So for you listening through different platforms this day, is not a luxury, you are not wasting time. It's a necessity because this thing affects other aspects of life, including health. So including career, all other aspects of our lives. So it's not a luxury. It's understanding money management will help you feel in control of your finances. So, and ideally, with strong financial literacy, you will be confident in money management to the point that when you focus your energy elsewhere on hobbies, families, friends, and the part of life that money can't buy, you know that you can take charge of your finances. So if you even focus on your hobbies, your families, friends, and other parts of your life that money cannot buy, you'll be able to sustain and ensure that you maintain everything correctly. So far, you are getting it right. When you are financially bankrupt, you tend to be nagging. Your real picture might not really come out. If you want to achieve this, there's nothing to even eat, everything is just dry, you won't be your reset. That's the truth. And I know there might be witnesses listening. So that's why this thing affects other parts of our lives and we need to take it more serious. So I will quickly move to the 21st century skills on financial literacy. So the 21st century skills on financial literacy. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the 21st century skills on financial literacy. I will start with A. I think I have A to E. So the first skill I want you to have is demonstrate financial responsibility and planning skills to achieve financial goals for a lifetime of financial health. What are the two things you need to know here is financial responsibility and planning skills. I talk about budgeting. I said, if you maintain orderliness in your finances, you will see wonders in your finances. So your responsibility is part of it. If you maintain budget, you will be more responsible and you will be having planning skills. I used to tell people every month I have a book where I write. I know what is coming because I'm not a business person. I'm a lecturer. I'm an academic person and I earn salary. So I know my salary. I know what I'm expecting each month, at least on the average basis. Other things can come up, but I know my major salary. Each month, apart from the fixed bills, I know that, okay, this and this will go, which includes going out to enjoy. It's part of what you plan. or maybe I want to change clothing and all that is part of it. You need to live good lives, but you also need to make the plans so that you can't just spend all you earn. That's what I'm trying to say. And that is why you need responsibility and planning skills. That is number one. In this 21st century that we have so many distractions everywhere. Now it is not fourth industrial revolution again, it's now fifth industrial revolution. So you need to just move as the earth is moving. Things are changing, skills are replaced by technology. Ensure you are responsible in your finances and you plan well. So far you are opportune to be getting little income. So how to develop short and long-term financial goals? Understand the concept of setting short-term and long-term goals. Your short-term, okay, in the next 6 months, I will want to be like to achieve this. Then when I achieve that, you don't just set goals without an intention. So when I achieve this in the next 6 months, I will use it for this and for this. Then you start all over again to start it. Meanwhile, what you have used, what you save for 6 months for, will be yielding you interest. Will be yielding you return on that investment. That means you can't be at the same level. If you are able to keep it for that 6 months, that means you are shifting a level, even if it is by one, let me say, rand now. That's what we spend where I'm speaking from. So now you need to evaluate the role short and long-term plays in financial success. I've said it, if you go close to these rich people, they don't spend money anyhow. They are not wasteful people. They are genuine rich ones. They are not wasteful people. So if you know that you're having goals, you need to know what the roles it will play in being successful financially. So assess the impact of the goal setting on your personal financial success. So if you are able to set your goal, I shared my own story of how I just decided that, no, I think I'm wasteful now. I need to be saving, and what I was able to gather together because I put my mind on it. So you need to set up some gadgets for yourself to ensure that that skill has to be there. And it's not age bias. A young guy, a young chap can have this skill and ensure that, and if they don't have it as an adult, if you have mentees, ensure that you train them in such a way that they are responsible for anything called money that enters their pocket. So describe the impact of goal setting on personal financial success. Describe the impact of goal setting on personal financial. Sharing with you, my kids, I think someone dashed them amount of money, and immediately they received that money, they were telling me, we'll buy this, we'll buy that. I told them, no. Do you need this thing that you want to buy? Do you need it before you got the money? I just engaged them because I wanted to impart these skills on them. I said, but even if this person has not given you this money, you did not need this thing, because you normally tell me what you need. So why is it now that the need is coming because you have money? And some adults are like that. Because you have money, needs things that you are not, want that you are not really in need of, will just be surfacing. Then that is when you will remember you need to buy this, you need to buy this. And if you don't have that money, you are okay with the way you live. So it happens to adults, it happens to children. So we need this skill really to be able to withstand and maintain our stand and financial stand, specifically in this 21st century. So under this first skill, I'm still under financial responsibility and planning skills to achieve your goal. That's the first skill. So I divided it into develop short and long-term goal. I've explained that. Then the second one under that first skill is understanding needs versus want. I think I've talked about it using my kids as an example. So explain the difference between needs and want. Analyze their own needs and wants to determine importance. What do you really need? Or the one, our wants are insatiable. Even if you have billions or billions, you just discover that they are just coming. But what do you really need? It needs to be identified. So all these things should not be prompted because you have money. You should be planning before, so that even if money comes, you will not just waste it and get and be buying what you don't need. Develop plans to achieve the most important needs and wants. You know, I know there are needs, then there are wants that we just feel like having, but you can also prioritize them. I might want an aircraft. Fine. Should that be prioritized for me as a university lecturer? Where am I flying to? Am I flying from Harvard to Oxford? Why can't I just use that money for other things? So just you yourself, you know your need, you know your want. So explore individual decisions made as a consumer and distinguish between the fact and the opinion in advertising. We are talking about consumers now. So as a business person, explore individual decision made from your customers and consumers, distinguish between fact and opinion in advertising so that your business or your corporate organization can proceed. So the second skill I will discuss is manage money effectively. So your skill to manage money effectively by developing spending plans and selecting appropriate financial instruments to maintain positive cash flow. So the skill here is developing spending plans and ability to select the appropriate financial instrument. So develop a realistic spending plan for financial independence. If you know, the totality of your life cannot just be dependent on others. This is a lack of responsibility in terms of finances. So understand the concept of developing spending plans. Your bills, you need to know a plan. You need to have a plan to ensure that you are not just overspending. So evaluate spending plan that promotes maintaining a larger income than expenditure. Your income must just be more than your expenses. If your expenses is more than your income, it's a danger signal. Develop and assess impact of different spending plans to make informed decision. Describe the impact of global issues on financial planning. You know, things are changing. There are some global issues really. So you must also consider these global issues on your own plans. So the other thing, apart from realistic spending plans under this key, you need to understand various sources of compensation. That's what I was saying. As a salary earner, you know your fixed income is salary. Others can come. So that's what this point is saying. Identify your various sources of income, your compensation. Allowances, salary, hourly wage, commission, benefits, gross and net income. Maybe someone just call you, okay, review this paper for me, we are paying you. Those ones are not fixed. So you can't budget on what is not fixed. What is not certain. You are not sure if they will call you to review or if they will not. But you know the ones that are fixed. Maybe it's your funding, and you know the ones that are fixed and you will surely get. Then ensure that you planned on them. Compare various compensation options to determine which best fits individual needs. So which one are you banking on your salary? Are you depending on your salary alone, or you have other sure income? All those things has to be considered. Then explain how income affects lifestyle and spending choices. You know, I think I've explained this. Don't receive income and start changing your spending plans and changing your spending of choices. You have spending choices before the income comes. So all those things you have to really take note of them. Number 3 is understanding financial instruments. Understand the responsibility of maintaining accounts using financial instruments such as checking account, debit card, ATM cards. All these things are very good. I used to say my bank, they've approached me severally for credit card and I turned them down. And they were like, no, your accounts, you deserve this, you deserve that. I just decided that I don't need this. I'm not discouraging you. It's a good thing. The most important thing is have a goal for yourself. Ensure that you are not bankrupt financially. Ensure that you are not spending more than you earn. Because I know myself that if I have this credit card, I might likely not be able to save again, because either it's credit card or not, you are still the one that will pay that credit. And no matter how much you overdraw from your account, you are still the one that will bear the burden. So let me just cut my coat according to what I receive. That's just my goal. And to be able to save from the little I earn. That's you. So you need to really know what you want for yourself. So then demonstrate the ability to reconcile personal cards with financial institution records. You don't just, some people will just be swiping. You don't even know, you've not even checked the bank statement if what you are swiping is what is actually in the record for the banks. Please, all these things they are necessary. Differentiate between interest bearing and non-interest bearing accounts. We really need to know this. All these credits giving organizations, using South Africa as an example, there are some clothing shops that you can open a credit account with them, and they have different kind of accounts. They have the non-interest bearing account. That means either you are paying cash, you are buying it now, you are paying cash, or you are paying for the next 6 months, it's still the same amount. And they have interest bearing account. Either if you take that interest bearing account, they charge certain percentage of interest. So it now depends on, but the interest bearing account they allow you to pay longer period than the non-interest bearing accounts. But choose your choice and ensure that you are earning interest, that you are paying little interest. Strive to earn interest, not to always be paying interest. It is achievable. So just put it at the back of your mind that I just want to be earning interest. I want to reduce my interest burden, payment of interest. It's possible. The fourth point under that spending plan skills, recognize the impact of fees and charges. Some fees and charges can be killing. Identify options for online financial transactions. There are some things, I think I entered, I was a victim of this. I saw one weight loss and whatever on online. I just used my card, I registered. They didn't tell me they will be deducting money every month. I just saw they deducted money first month. And not small amount of money. Second month, I had to email these people. When did I enter this agreement with you? They said, okay, everybody that visits their website and put their card, that's what they do. I said, what? Please remove my card number and reverse my money. So many of these online payments and all that. Ensure that you are not victims of all these cases. Understand the distribution of resources. So far you are still a little earner. I prefer investing that little earnings to generate returns that you can distribute to others. You shouldn't just earn income and start distributing. How will the money multiply? How will it multiply? Because multiplication of wealth is intentional. How will it multiply? So it's wiser enough to trade with the little you have, then let it yield and ensure that the interest, that the return on that investment is what you are distributing all over. Identify options for distributing resources. You must have priority, scale of preference. You don't just distribute all you have and you yourself at the end of the day, you don't even have what to eat. Analyze short and long-term benefits of different resource allocation. Create personal spending plans to include savings. Your personal spending, the first thing you should do is to take out your savings as soon as income comes. That should be the first thing. And these commercial banks, they make things simple. Just give them an instruction from my salary or from my income. As soon as it is coming, this percentage should go to this savings account. They will do it. Even before the money comes to you, they must have deducted even before it comes. So savings, you can see the first one here, your spending, your giving, and your investment has to be consistent with your financial goal. That means our goals are not the same. But savings should be the first thing you consider from your income. So the third skill is make informed and responsible decision about incurring and repaying debt to remain both creditworthy and financially secured. You know, some people, because they are in a credit-based system, they've misused the opportunity. They've misused that opportunity. They are just spending, taking credits. You know, I talk about credit card, just overusing the opportunity. Now, you've forgotten that you need to be credit worthy. Your credit scores has to be good, and you must be financially secured. If debt is too much, it leads to a burden. It leads to a burden because there is no amount of money you owe that you will not pay back. So identify responsible credit card management. Manage your credit card. Explain credit card features. Understand the implication of making minimum payment, late payments, and late fees. All those things. Understand different types of debt. What are you incurring debt for? Are you incurring debt for consumption, or you are incurring debt for investment? You know, are you incurring debt to eat and eat and eat, and you have nothing to show for it? Or you are incurring debt to invest and multiply wealth? It's a question that is a food for thought. So compare loan terms and rates to determine the best choice. You must compare your loan terms. You must get a good rate. Compare interest rates for different loan givers. So you must sample and ensure you go around to make your decision. Identify the impact of loans on personal financial plans, such as auto, student credit card, major purchases, and all that. Identify assets producing debt versus living expenses debt. Can you see asset producing debt versus living expense debt? Living expense debt can lead you to financial bankruptcy. But if it is asset producing debt, you are even happy you have borrowed, because you can see what you have used it for is making more money that can even service that debt. Is making more money that can even service the debt in due time. So all this has to be well understood, and understand rights and responsibility of borrowers. Identify factors concerned for qualifying for or securing a loan. Understand the meaning of credit scores, how it is used to negotiate better loan options. Explain the potential consequence of not meeting the requirements of the agreement. That means you want to increase the non-performing loans, which is one of the problems for developing economies. It should not be so. Explain an individual right and responsibility under the Consumer Protection Law. So the fourth skill is evaluate, and identify appropriate risk management option, including types of insurance, non-insurance, and identity protection. So you have to establish strategies for protection of identity. Describe the importance of protecting your identity. Distinguish legitimate from fraudulent solicitation. So all this, you have to, what this point is saying is, if you are investing, be careful. Be careful. Ensure that you ensure there's a guarantee that what you are putting your money in is secured and justified. Explain ways to protect the identity. All these are very important. So recognize different types of insurance, the different types of insurance, and define the appropriate need for each. Determine the appropriate options available to reduce the cost of premium. No, you know, different premium for insurance companies, diverse ones. Ensure that you take up insurance when necessary. Recognize different types of non-insurance protection. These are legal and written documentation to protect. You know, there are some businesses, there's no real insurance like that than just write a written document and you both sign and all that. So just recognize different types of such. And the E part, assess the value. The number 5 skill is assess the value. Assess the value, features, planning process associated with saving, investing, and asset building, and apply this knowledge to achieve long-term financial security with personal entrepreneurial growth in a global market. So recognize investment options, and you need to do your own market survey. You need to know what works for the economy you have. So what works for our economy here might not be what works for economy in India, in the US, in Nigeria, or in all nations of the heart. So assess the many factors that influence financial planning. Explain the impact of short and long-term financial goals for asset building. So your investment option has to be considered. Then distinguish between investment options. Which one do you really want? Then understand the power of compound interest. Then understand the relationship between investment risk and return. You know, we have risk, we have return. The risk, you know, it's a life that does not take risk might not move forward. That's just the saying. But your risk must be controlled in such a way that it will not negatively affect your returns. Okay, the number 6 skill is understand human, cultural, and societal issues relating to financial literacy and practice legal and ethical behavior. You know, after study the environment you have, you must have the skill of picturing and studying the environment you have, recognize the local, state, national, and international impact of personal financial habits and actions, demonstrate responsible financial behavior at the planning, at the personal, local, state, national, international level. So financial behaviors has to be considered, financial habit has to be considered, the human and the social ethical issues has to be considered. So if you want to build your financial literacy, you want to refuse from being an illiterate financially. You now want to develop goals. You now want to set your budget, your target. You want to make sure that your income, your expenses is no more than your income. Start with tools available for free from your bank. Credit union, credit card issuers. There are so many tools available in the bank. So it's possible you need to just approach your bank on how you can achieve all this. You may also consider using third-party budgeting app to keep track of your spending, if it will be like that, but you can also do manual budgeting. Local resources such as State Consumer Protection Agency, Attorney General Office, support for consumers and all that. You can also ensure that you take that to protect you as a consumer. If you have the means, considering working with financial advisors, learn from the financial experts. So, you know, different people with different fields learn from financial experts. So you need to understand credit, because I know majority of us are from a credit-based economy. So understanding credit is an important factor for financial literacy. So lenders use credit scores to determine whether to work with you. And landlord may also use credit scores to determine whether you qualify for an appointment. Yes, your credit score matters. That means you must be able to manage your credit and ensure that you don't default. You pay as and when due. You pay as and when due. So your credit score is the backbone of your financial life. Ability to pay back your loans when it is due, on or before when it is due, rather. Having a good one gives you the opportunity to meet financial goals like buying and renting a home. Credit score. So factor contributing to credit scores, I'll just mention that your payment history. How have you been paying? If you agree payments on the 1st of each month, don't pay on the 2nd. It will spoil your credit score. Credit utilization. How do you use the credit? What are you using it for? Is it for consumption, for investment? Credit mix. You can mix different kind of credit and payment history and credit utilization. You can have, maybe you are taking loan, mortgage loan, personal loan, you know, just mix it and ensure that you diversify. So other factors are add inquiries. Having credit is formal, but only apply to credits you need. You need to have inquiries about credit scores. Then negative information. If you miss a bill payment, declared bankruptcy, and otherwise demonstrate that you did not manage a credit account and agreed, the information will appear on your credit report for 7 years. In most cases, it depends on the country, 10 years. So lenders will take this into account when deciding to approve your new credit. So negative information, add inquiries, all those things affect your credit scores. So in summary, what have I been saying to summarize my story is that being financially literate means you have understanding in terms of budgeting, in terms of setting financial goals, in terms of paying your bill. I'm saying it now in layman language to summarize all what I've been saying. Basics of loans. You understand the difference between personal debt and mortgage loan, etc. You know what is called credit card and credit scores, how to service them and how to maintain good credit scores. Then you know how investment works. So how investing works. So in summary, that is just what I've been trying to say. And if you can do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullet points correctly, it will affect other aspects of your lives, and you can't just remain the same. You will have authority over your finances. So the key component, in summary, key components of financial literacy, we are talking about earn, spend, save and invest, borrow and protect. So we are not saying you can't borrow, but what are you borrowing for is what matters. So when you talk about earn, I've explained that you calculate your income, you are ready to spend responsibly. Then spend responsibly. There's this rule, 50-30-20 budgeting rule. It means that 50 goes for your needs. You know, needs are the things you can't do without, like food. You have to eat. You have to pay your rent. You have to pay your bill. Water bill, electricity, house rent. Those are needs, things you need to exist. Then 30% for your wants. You could see this is flexible. This is flexible, and this is just the minimum. It now depends on your financial goal. Because if I'm to do this, I can't make 30% for my wants. It's too expensive. It's too much. When 20% is for savings. The most important thing is your need. So if 50% is allocated for, this is just a rule by someone in America and all that. So it might not work for you, and it might not work in your country. This is just a suggestion. 30% for wants. These are the wants, things you just want to. Taking people and going out for relaxation is part of it. And 20% is for savings. So 20% is for savings or paying off your debt. So it's for savings or paying off your debt. So, you know, the financial analysts used to say that the minimum percentage of your income that you can save is 20%. So calculate it. Are you really following that? Then you save and invest. You don't just save without a goal. You must save for a particular purpose, which is investment. So don't just be keeping money because, you know, devaluation and all this inflation and all that. You can't just keep money for years. The value of the money, you will lose it. But use the savings for investment. Set a target. In the next 6 months, I wish to have this. Okay, before the end of 2021, I want to have this. And by January 2022, I'm using this money to do so, and so. That's how you can multiply your wealth. So savings and investment needs to be understood. So we have talked about credit card. You borrow to invest and not borrow to consume. So, and ensure you pay back as I went. Then protect. You must at all costs prevent fraud. Buying insurance, prevent fraud. So if you have set a good budget for yourself, you have good investment plan, then protect all these things. Don't go and save your money where it is not secure, that the integrity of the place is not guaranteed or justified. You will just be wasting time. So how to assess your financial literacy? All my listening, all my listeners, the participants, how do you assess your financial literacy? An easy way to assess your financial is to ask yourself some questions about your own personal finances. Ask yourself, be true to yourself. Do you know how to create a personal budget? Do you know what is a budget? It's just planning ahead for your income and expenditure. So budget is you using your previous income to plan ahead. This is my income, this is my expenses. Then at the end of the day, you will get deficit or you get surplus. Don't get deficit in your budget. Always strive to get surplus. If you are getting deficit, it means that you are financially bankrupt. And if you continue like that, you might not be able to get over it. Do you have an emergency fund that covers at least 3 months of basic living expenses? What if this salary stops today? In the next 3 months, can I still survive it? That's what we're saying. Even if or for circumstances, what you don't expect really happens, in the next 3 months, can we survive it? That streams of income that used to come, let something else happen and it stops. In the next 3 months, can you still be looking the way you're looking? It's all about plans. We saw people that they are out of job and it's as if their wealth just got released. And it's because of the plans for the future. Do you have a plan for retirement? Those that are working, please, if your answer is no, change it and ensure that from now you start planning. If you have debt, do you have a plan to pay it off, or you just want to be running away from the lender? Don't forget about your credit scores. It can affect you in the future. It will affect you from getting more loans. Do you know your credit score, how to improve it? Do you know your credit score? Do you know how to improve it? Commercial banks just working, they can calculate for you your credit score, and you can even call them. They will just ask you some personal question. And don't forget, all these some developing or developed countries, they have data for everything that is going on. So they just give them your ID number and all that. They bring out all what you've bought on credit and how you responded to the repayment and all that. So if you can answer all these questions, you'll be able to tell yourself if I'm a literate financially or I'm an illiterate. You'll be able to know. So, but if all the answers to those questions have been no, that is not the end of life. You can still change it. That's why we are here together today for this webinar. And that is why you need, even if you know people that need this, and they can just share it. We are live on YouTube, is live on Facebook as I'm speaking. Just share with people so that they know. You can still improve it. The most important thing is just not to die as a failure. There's no lateness in making correction. So if you answer no to all those or most of those questions, what you need to do is to firstly start creating a personal monthly budget. If you are a salary earner, start with a budget. Just try it. Having a budget will help you. Don't have an exercise book or do it on your laptop every month. Don't just spend as it comes. Know what you spend on. Be accountable for what you spend on. Start an emergency fund. Keep some money somewhere in case of emergency. In the next 3 months, how do we want to cope in this house? If this thing happened, how do I want to make up my life? All these things, we need to consider them. Then make a plan for the future. What you don't plan for, you cannot attain. A future you cannot picture, you cannot future in it. So if you want to see wonders in the future, be orderly now and start planning for the future. In the next 6 years, what do I want to have financially? If you don't know what you have, you just discover that you'll be at the same level because you are striving towards no goal, nothing. It's driving you. No discipline because you are heading nowhere. So make plans for the future. Make plans to get out of debt. Only take debt that are used for investment. Taking debt for consumption is a danger signal. So make a plan to get out of debt and reduce the load of debt so that you can have peace of mind. You know, there are some people that the messages that are coming to their phone, pay this, pay this, pay this, can even give them high blood pressure. That's just the truth. So determine your credit scores and learn how to improve it. Ensure that your credit score is very good. So your ability to finance your debt as you have agreed will help you and give you a good name, give you a good rating, so that when you even want to go into big investment, it won't go against you. So I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate Research Cycle for this opportunity, and I want to appreciate all the participants all around the world. Thank you for listening, using different platforms. My sincere appreciation to Research Cycle for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I guess we are running out of time already. And if anyone has any question, we'll try to provide the email ID of Doctor, and you can directly ask on the email, because we do have next session uh, right away. So we'll skip that question answer session for this webinar. Um, at last, I would like to thank all the participants for their presence and participation. And at last, Doctor, thank you so much for taking out time and sharing this valuable knowledge to us. That surely help to the many researchers and to the common man as well, because everyone needs the financial literacy somehow. So thank you so much. And with your due permission, I would like to conclude our session here.
Yeah, thank you.